Welcome back. All right, in today's trusty, hopefully, tidbit to help you fix what may or may not be your problem, we're going to discuss one way to check to see if you have an air leak at your intake and your base of your carburetor. So first, if you'll notice, your carburetor has the 4 slices that allow it to clamp down when you tighten the clamp around your base of your intake. Now the problem generally is you can't get the intake on, or the intake might not be in all the way. Sitting flush against the carburetor right there, past the slices there, so they do not leak air. But every once in a while you'll get an intake that is just not perfect, or a carburetor is just not perfect and it goes on, but it's not going on all the way. Now to check, you can see the slice right there, and if you don't see the intake past it, the chrome looking back at you, or aluminum, we'll get to that one in a minute, then you know it's not on all the way. One of the ways I check when you can't see it clearly, I have some tip cleaners for torch and welding tips, and I'll see when I poke it in the slot if it goes in. As you notice, that one's going in. That means I do not have my intake in all the way. So I will push it in there a little further, and now can't get my tip cleaner in there. I know the intake is past that hole, so I know it won't be sucking air anymore. Now I can clamp it down. That's one way. If you have a bread tie, even the smallest piece of wire, just anything that'll fit in that slot, just to make sure your intake is past that slot and not creating an air leak. All right, that's one way. Another difference is this is an aluminum intake and this is a steel intake. Now every once in a while I will get one that is steel, and I'll have to file the edge down because where they cut it, it's just a sharp edge, won't allow the intake to slide inside the carburetor. Unfortunately, steel, you can't grind that if it doesn't fit properly, because you'll just damage it if you use a grinder, and you can't sand it because it's steel. You'll be there to the end of time. The bonus of aluminum intake, if yours comes with an aluminum intake, sometimes you could take your sandpaper, take the burrs off of it, and even sand it down a little bit to get a perfect fit. It's all the way in there. We'll check our feeler gauge, and I can't push it in, so we know it's flush mounted, and we'll tighten it up, and no more air leak, or no air leak from the beginning. Depends what stage you're in. Another way to ensure that you do not have an air leak, I have gotten carburetors there where they machined these too deep and they went all the way to the base. And no matter if I had the intake in all the way, it would still seep a little air because those slices there would be all the way to the base right here. So it would suck air between that little area. So to cure that, you can go to your local hardware store or auto parts store and get a neoprene washer. Neoprene washers are not affected by oil and gas and temperatures. You can't just use any black, just rubber washer. the gas and oil will dissolve it and it won't work and make a big mess, and it may or may not damage your engine. I don't know. I've never done it to find out, but I don't want you to either. So anyway, when I ran into that little problem where it was leaking air all the way up there and there was nothing to do about it because it was just a glitch in the machining of the carburetor base, installed my neoprene washer, O-ring, I mean, not washer. As you can see, it sits perfectly on that ledge. Slide my intake together firmly, and then I will tighten it up, and no air leak. See, it doesn't go in there, so we know it's sealed up. All right, that's pretty much it on the base leak. Hopefully that helped you out, gave you some food for thought, and got you and your bike rolling.